Hello everyone, and welcome to a special edition of my informational videos. This is Financial Literacy Month. I'm recording this in November of 2020, and the theme of Financial Literacy Month this year is getting back to basics. So I'm going to focus today on something that is one of the most basic fundamental components of sound financial planning, and that is the concept of emergency savings. So if you're like me, growing up, my parents or grandparents would always talk about setting money aside for a rainy day. It's a concept which seems quaint in today's age of easy access to credit, but it's one of the things that distinguishes people who struggle on a monthly basis from affluent people who have access to money for when things go bad as well as when things go right. So the general rule of thumb that I tell my clients is to set aside in either cash on hand under the mattress or in a jar or in a separate bank account enough money to cover 3 months of expenses. So that is if you're unable to work for 3 months because of health reasons, because the business shut down, because we've got a global pandemic and we're in lockdown, but 3 months of expenses so that you can be assured that no matter what happens, you're going to be okay for 3 months. And very often people find that they're able to reduce their expenses during this period as well. So it's not quite as you don't need the money, as much of the money, or it lasts a little bit longer. So let's take that from a general concept of 3 months to what is it really? So I'll have clients sit down and say, before we even worry about investing, let's make sure that you got 3 months of emergency savings set aside. And I put down 4 categories. So the first is housing. So what do you need on a monthly basis for housing? So just to keep math as relatively simple, if your rent and or mortgage plus some of the house expenses is around $1,200 a month, that's fairly modest. I understand some people have more than that, but let's say it's $1,200 for the sake of argument. Then food, how much do you need for food every month? Uh, Single people or young couples, $300 a month is kind of what I see. If you're a family of five, obviously your food budget's going to be higher, especially if you have teenagers. So the next category, transportation, also can be a big category. So this is, if you're thinking about your car lease or loan, gas, insurance, repairs and maintenance, let's say that's $500 you need to have every month just to get about and do your daily routine. And then finally, utilities. So I break this out from the housing, although traditionally we consider water and heat as part of the utilities. But one of the big expenses in many people's budgets now are cell phones and internet, Netflix, and all the other categories. So let's consider that in utilities. And 250 is not uncommon for people to be spending on that category. Let's add it all up. And every month in this particular household, this individual requires $2,250 in order just to maintain the lifestyle. Okay, so that's 1 month. What is it in 3? Multiplied by 3, that is $6,750 that need. That's now our target goal. So if you've gotten this far, that's great. Most people don't even get to this part. They just know that they need to have money and they're going to use their credit card, which I have another whole video on that credit is not emergency savings. Okay, so we now know that the goal is to have $6,750. So some people may have that right now sitting in savings, and I'll say, great, let's take that and pull it out of whatever it is that you're using it for, and let's start building. Let's identify that as your emergency savings. If you don't have that much money, we'll say, do you have 1,000 or 2,000 set aside right now in your savings? Let's move that into an account and build on that. But let's say that we're meeting for the first time and you haven't done anything, you have no savings whatsoever. We recognize that it's important to get to this. It doesn't all have to happen overnight, and most solid planning takes time. So we'd have a discussion, say, what do you think you can set aside on a monthly basis in order to get to that goal, and let's get started. So if you had $150 and you said, I'm going to put $150 every month into that, it would take just under 4 years before you had that saved. But all the way along, you've got emergency savings. So even if you don't have the full amount at any one time, you do have emergency savings that you can tap into when things go wrong. So it's not an all or nothing situation. If you can be a little bit more aggressive, $200, that would take just under 3 years to get to that goal. And if you were to say, I can put $250 in a month, that would be just over 2 years, 2 years and 3 months. So if someone said, I'm going to do $200 a month, our goal would be to have this saved by just under 2 years, so just under 3 years. And then something amazing happens. Well, two things happen. One is you've got a great sense of peace of mind. I've never had anyone regret that they have emergency savings. They've never said, gee, I wish I hadn't saved that money. But the other thing that happens is you've started to build a habit, whereas you weren't saving anything before. Now you're a little bit more aware of what you're spending money on. You've built a habit of putting that aside. And when that money is saved in here for that $6,750 in emergency savings, we can now take that $200 and allocate it to something else. Now we start building on an investment plan to grow your wealth. A little bit of protection with some insurance in case something catastrophic happens. But you've gone from a situation of, if anything bad happens, I'm completely out of luck, to I can handle myself for 3 months or maybe longer. And now I'm a good saver, and I'm starting to build up my wealth. So I hope this has been helpful. Financial Literacy Month is a great opportunity for everyone to take a good look at their finances and start to build some healthy habits. If you'd like to know more about this, please browse the other YouTube's videos here. Reach out and contact me. If you really have no idea how to get started, I'm happy to sit down and have that discussion. I'm really looking forward to everyone building their own financial flight plan.